Welcome guys and girls to US Virgin Islands Chess online virtual tutorials and instructionals. Your host Colin Heim. Here we go guys, another game from the Philidor arena you selected, and this is another one of my games. All these games so far from the playlist, if you select from each and every one of them, are games played by myself in the online Philidor rated Blitz arena. So playing for real points here, guys and girls. So these games are worth sharing because they're real games. Real Philidor games. So in this game, guys, your instructor had the black pieces, and we go for e4, e5. Not a Sicilian defense this time, playing a normal king's pawn opening. And after knight to f3, d6 now, playing the Philidor defense. d4, white decides to strike in the center and start fighting for centipawn gain and loss. So knight c6 is a good move played by myself. And after takes, and now the most played move in the position. Let's get into some analysis here, guys. It's just horse. Dropping into e5 and capturing, and after captures, queen oftentimes just captures here on d8, and after that we see recapturing now with the king. Okay, so in this position, the black king has lost castling rights, castling privileges. So if white decides to play a move like this, just attacking f7 pawn, you can play f6, and maybe white would castle here, and then yeah. There's still good chances for each side here. Black never really needed a castle to begin with because there's no queens on the board. So that's fine. Castling isn't a big deal, guys. When there's no queens on the board, you can always just get your king involved. Anyway, none of this was played in the game. Instead, we saw, excuse me there, guys, sorry. We saw knight to g5, and notice how the queen can't capture here, guys, because the bishop, obviously. So instead, we just played h6, asking a question of the knight. Also gaining a tempo now because h6 is a good move for black. And now we see after I decide to capture on f3, recapturing with the queen. And I guess the best move in the position is just queen to f6. And maybe white is encouraged to trade here. Or maybe his or her best move is bishop to e2. Anyways, we saw in the game knight to f6, and now looking to just put more pressure on e4 pawn, so not going for queen f6, guys, but just knight f6. And bishop to c4 now, putting more pressure on f7, telling black he needs to slow down. And bishop to g4. Bishop to g4 is a good move because now it's attacking the queen. And we see how the bishop is also defended by the f6 knight. So queen to f4 was maybe a good move, I'm not sure. But after we see queen to e7 from myself and short castles now, g5, asking a question of the queen, where do you plan on going? Maybe f4 wasn't the best square. g5 does look a little early in this position, guys, but it's good because it kicks the queen away back to somewhere like d2, okay? So now after long castles, which may or may not have been a mistake, guys, find actually the best move in this position for black. What could black have played here? Maybe a little stronger. Well, this move is actually, yes, the best move recommended by the engine, just knight captures. And if white decides to, play something like this, right, just more in-depth analysis, guys, like queen to d4, now the rook is under attack. Well, then I guess the best move in this position is probably maybe just defending, or no, yeah, maybe, yeah, this is the best move, guys, just queen to e5. And after takes, and now rook is coming. Obviously, the knight is under attack, but the bishop can drop back, and then the game can continue. And this is actually a good position for black now because black is up a pawn, and things are going really well. So I really like black in this position. Look how white is completely undeveloped here on the queen side as well. Also down a full pawn. So that was some thorough analysis, guys, brought to you by Colin Heim, US Virgin Islands Chess at home and abroad. Let's get back to what happened in the game now, as this was a very short game. So we saw bishop, queen going back to d2. Let me get my pieces right. So castling was played here, guys, in long castles. Yeah, queen to a5 now, threatening to take here on a7. It's kind of a scary position now for black. a6 was played, and can you guys spot the move without looking at the notation that my opponent played in this position after I give everyone a couple of seconds? You guys spot the move played by white here? Did you guys spot this move? All right, bishop into a6. And now black actually has to capture here because white is giving up a full minor piece for material. And after the king flies away back to d7, there's actually another check here. Yeah, it says the best move is actually queen to a4. But what was played in the game, guys, queen to b5 check. And after c6, now throwing another check on b7. King goes back to e8 and find the obvious move for white here, guys, right? Queen takes c6, check. And dropping back the bishop now. Okay, so this is the best move in the position. Now let's look at the position material-wise, ladies and gentlemen. Let's look at the positional material benefit. How did white economize here, so to speak? Okay, so 2, 4, 6, and 7 pawns versus black's 4 pawns, but black has an extra minor piece. And we notice again how in this position all of white's minor pieces on the queen side are out of the game and have not been deployed yet onto the battlefield. So, okay, we see the continuation now. Queen to b7, fine, played by my opponent. And remember, guys, this was also a 10+0 blitz game. I didn't know what my opponent's rating here was, but anyway, now after queen b7, guys, striking and taking on e4 as it does. Okay, so this is a good move. And if something like queen captures and then knight captures and then rook e1, well, then there's always just f5, and obviously that's running into problems, so f5 isn't best. Yeah, just perhaps, well, that's a hard position to defend, so maybe taking is not best there. Perhaps that was a mistake. Perhaps my opponent should have just taken the queen. Anyways, in this position, my opponent dropped back to b3, and bishop to c6, and my opponent conceded the game on the spot with bishop to d2, guys. For my beginners, intermediates, whatever level, just find the winning move now for black and just terminate the game. After I give everyone a couple of seconds. Do we spot the move at home? Guys, queen g2, hashtag. Okay. So that's what happened in the game. That was a 20-move miniature with a king's pawn opening. And yeah, perhaps queenside castles here was just a bad move from black. Queenside castle, long castle wasn't best in this position because after, remember we saw queen to a5 and a6, and after bishop takes, right, b into a, and queen captures, and now giving a check. Maybe black does kind of look hopeless here. Remember after c6, giving another check on the b7 square, and I was able to find a way with bishop to d7 to keep the momentum. Obviously, we mentioned maybe why that was a bad move. If queen captures and then knight captures, maybe the rook is coming here, and yeah, who knows? The king is trapped here in the center, and I guess there's really no possible good continuation. I guess the knight is just being lost here. Regardless, I guess there's really not a way to defend. You have to play something like this, and after captures, and yeah, so white is just up a pawn in this position, but black still has the bishop pair, so maybe this is still okay for black. Tell me what you guys think. Does this position here, in this variation that probably should have been played after queen recaptures on e4, after that analysis that we saw, is this best? Yeah, it possibly is, because let's just say now something, guys. What if white wants to just start deploying the dark squared bishop, say like a move like this? Well, then black can always threaten b2 square now, and then maybe after something like this, white will have double pawns, and okay, obviously black can't capture. We mentioned that, so maybe f5 in this position, question mark. And yeah, I actually like black here, even being down a pawn. I think I could meander my way through this position, guys, and maybe come up with a draw or maybe even with a win. Yeah, I guess I wouldn't give up the bishop pair here. Obviously, if my opponent played that, probably just run into something like this, right? But that's not recommended either. So, okay, guys, good thorough analysis here today. 10 minutes with the virtual Chess-Based India Fritz board, and brought to you guys by Colin again. Thank you guys for participating. and I'm glad you selected this video and learned something today. See everyone on the other side with much more material to come, and bye bye guys. See you on the other side.